It's called stargazing, and because of the stars, we actually started this hobby because we were so fascinated by it, right? But then, when we actually started it, we completely forgot about the stars. It's all about the nebulas, the galaxies, the star clusters. But the regular stars, we absolutely neglect them. In this video, the stars are the stars, and we look at the options that we have to give them the proper treatment. Stick with me. Hey, this is View into Space. I'm Sasha from Switzerland, so grüezi miteinander, and thanks for watching my channel. So if you thought I was exaggerating in my introduction, let's just have an honest discussion how we do our photography. Let's say you want to shoot a nebula. So you go out and you install a dual narrowband filter, right? Which actually doesn't even let most of the starlight pass through. And then we choose an exposure which will bring us as much light as possible from the nebula. And we couldn't care less if that actually will be a good exposure for the stars. In addition to that, the long exposure times will definitely not lead to the best pinpoint stars. And then when we are at the computer and, for example, stretch the image, do we really have the stars in mind when we're doing that? Probably not. So there is a lot of things we can do better to get the perfect stars without decreasing the quality of the main object, be it a nebula, be it a galaxy. And this is the topic of today. Now I know the title of this video is Star Processing in Pixinsight, and we will come to that. But this is not only about the processing. It starts way before. The most crucial thing is that you shoot the stars separately. And I know that's additional effort, but it's well worth it. So what is crucial when you're shooting the stars? First of all, the filter. Either use no filter at all, if that from a light pollution point of view is feasible, or use a broadband light pollution filter, like for example the Optolong L Pro. These filters kill to a certain degree the light pollution, but still let the starlight through in their original color and brightness. Second of all, choose a very short exposure time. Could be 20 seconds, could be 30 seconds, something like that. Depends also on the focal length of your telescope, on the guiding accuracy, but the primary focus is that your stars will be pinpoint round and in focus. Also, with these short exposure times, we ensure that we do not overexpose any stars. And for that, you do not need a very long integration time. So half an hour to an hour max is really enough. And from that point of view, it's also not that much effort to capture the stars in addition. So once you have done that, then we can actually go to the computer and there we will continue. Okay, and here we are on my computer. So what should you have right now? On one side, you should have the stacked picture or pictures of the nebula. So there might be one color picture or 3 mono pictures. And the other thing you should have is a picture of the stars. And already here, I think you see the huge difference between the two shootings, between the two filters. Here I have used an Antlia ALPT with 3-minute exposures. Here I have used an Optolong L Pro with 60 seconds exposures. So now there is one thing extremely important, and that is that these two pictures are adjusted together, which means that they fit on top of each other. Now there's 2 ways how you can accomplish that. Either you do it through the stacking. I stack in Astropixel processor, and there I can actually state that I shoot with 2 different filters, so it actually registers it together, but then it integrates the filters separately. So I get 2 pictures, but they match each other. And in a way, the batch preprocessing in Pixinsight, that's possible too. The other alternative, which you can go and which is not better, not worse, is that you register them right now. And how you do that, I will show you now. Now, the issue is these two are already registered, so it's kind of pointless to register them again. So I will close this down and I will take this here. So to actually register them is extremely easy. You go to Process, Image Registration, and then Star Alignment. Now, given that the star picture is the bigger one, I will make it the reference image. So I can simply drag it in here. That's done. And the other one, I make the target image. Okay, that's done too. That's all I have to do. I just click now on Global here, on the circle. And here we go. And now I have here my register picture. So I'll minimize the other one. And what you will see, if I now go with this register picture right on top of it, and you realize that it snaps right into it and all the stars are aligned. So this is what I mean with registration. Now, why I say this is so extremely important is because once you removed the stars, there is no way anymore to register it. So you could go through the whole workflow, invest hours, and at the end, you can actually not use it because you have not registered it. So never forget that to register these two pictures. Now, once both pictures are registered, what we have to do next is we have to crop them because, as you can see, they're huge black areas and that creates issues in the processing if we don't remove that. But we have to be very careful when we do that we crop both exactly the same. Otherwise, they're not registered anymore and we have a huge issue again. So we start now with the one which is the worst, which is this one. And we also look always a little bit over here. For example, here we see that this is actually down here. That's not an issue. This one has here a little bit hole in the top. That's also not an issue. And when we look over here, you see here, for example, it looks fine. But here we have this huge gap. So we also need to crop in here to get rid of that. So I think if we do it like this, everything should be taken care of. Now, before we crop this now, I just go here to the triangle, move it here, so that I have this saved. And only now I crop. So this is cropped. Now I go to the next one, I open the saved process, and you see what happens. The same frame again appears. And I can crop it now exactly the same. And the proof is, if we move them over each other again, they 100% align again. So that's fine. We do not need the dynamic crop anymore. This can go. These two pictures go now very different ways. And with the nebula, I will leave you now on your own. There's a million other tutorials which show you, depending on where you start, on what you want to do, Hubble palette, or regular HOO or whatever, which this is done. And I might also do some tutorials in the future. What I need from you at the end of this video is a picture like this, the nebula without the stars. So imagine yourself that you want to display the nebula starless. And you go that far that you would actually publish it on the internet or do whatever you want with it. That's the state it has to be when we will meet this picture again and we will merge both together. This video is about the stars, and here they are, and with them we will work. So the first step we're now going to do on our star picture lane here is the dynamic background extraction. And just as a side mark, even I show you each step I do extensively, for all the processes where I already have a dedicated tutorial, I will actually put a link here on the top right, so that if you want to know more about these processes, you can look it up. So let's start with the dynamic background extraction. So once we click into it, we can actually start setting the samples. The samples have to be at places where there are no stars. Default sample radius is 5. I feel this is way too small, even here with a lot of stars. We don't want to have it too large, but 5 is too small. So I say 15, resize them all, and I think that's about a decent size for the samples. I might also actually enlarge this picture a little bit so that I can actually see better where to put the samples. So definitely up here. Okay, with all these samples, I'm happy. So now I have actually to up the tolerance. Let's put it on 2 and let's see where it leads us. Still some. So let's say 2.5. And now you see almost all the harsh pixels are gone. We can actually skip here a little bit through it. It looks nice, you see. So that's good. Smoothing factor, I can actually go up to 0.7 as we have nothing harsh in here. It's more like a little bit of gradient which might be in there. Then is the question between subtraction and division. Given we have no vignetting in here, it's just small light pollution, we go with subtraction. And with that, we're happy here. And here it is. We can actually look here at the background mask. You see it's a nice gradient which goes through it. We remove that now. And here we have our new picture. We can close down our old one and we continue working with this. Close the dynamic background extraction. And by the way, you might ask, Sasha, why did you even do that? Because you will actually remove the background. So why would you actually then remove the light pollution? On one side, you're right. On the other side, I do this as the preparation for the next two processes, which are the photometric color calibration and then also the star removal. Because light pollution might actually make this more difficult for these processes. So having the light pollution removed makes the stars more stick out, and that helps. And that's the reason why I did it. But yes, we will not use the background. We will not use the nebula. That will all go away rather soon. So as mentioned, next thing I'm actually going to do is I will do the photometric color calibration. And that's now something really, really crucial because we care about the stars. So we want to have them in the right color. So I entered already the right object, NGC 6974. So that's already done. I entered the right date, the focal length of my telescope, including the reducer, and the pixel size of my camera. These are the things which are absolutely crucial that you enter them the right way. And if you have already watched my process video about the photometric color calibration, you know that this is a little bit a special picture as it didn't really want it to work with this process. And so actually at the end, the thing that made it do it was changing here from the triangle similarity to the polygon matching. And so I have this already in here. I also have here the background neutralization activated, and that's also why we didn't have to do before a separate background neutralization. With that all done, I throw the triangle on there, and so it's done. So we can close this down again. We are restretching it. Okay, and it looks much better and nice colors of the stars. Next small step we're going to do is the SCNR. And if you're saying now, no, this is not the SCNR, I know this is actually Bill's SCNR. So I really like the pixel math processes that Bill Blanchard actually writes. He's really an absolute genius, and the things he's doing at the moment I feel enhance the functionality of Pixinsight like nothing else. So as you will see through that tutorial, I use quite a lot of his pixel math processes. And here with this one, with his SCNR, it just provides a better luminance protection. So I throw this on here, and it's done. As always, obviously, because SCNR removes the green, everything gets a little bit more reddish. So now we come to the crucial step. The step where we remove the stars. Or we don't really remove the stars. We, in principle, remove the rest of the picture and we keep the stars. For that, you have two possibilities. One is Star Exterminator, the other is StarNet 2. Now, you will need to remove the stars on both pictures, on the nebula and here, but they're different priorities. Here, our priority is to get the highest quality of the stars out of it. If a few stars remain on the rest of the picture, we don't really care. On the nebula side, it's exactly the opposite. You have to get rid of each and every star if possible. So that's why if you have both, I would definitely use here, with the stars, the star exterminator. On the nebula side, I might also use first the star exterminator, but given that the star exterminator with crappy stars have a tendency to leave some stars behind, I might do a second cleanup with the star net too. But here for this side, star exterminator does a wonderful job. What is crucial that you select here generate star image, because that's what we need. And with that, I throw it on here. And here we are. Here we have the stars, and here we have the nebula. And actually it did a very good job. It only left 2 stars. Cool. So we do not need this here anymore. Bye-bye, my nebula. And you're gone. And now, having the stars, we come to the most important step of this whole process. And that's the stretching. Now, why is the stretching so important? Because it's usually the thing that kills the color of the stars. Because a traditional histogram stretch makes the colors fade. And that's why we use a very special stretch technique for this purpose, which is the arcsine stretch. And I'll show you now how to do that. So first of all, we have to actually undo the stretch here. And we see we have 1, 2, 3, 4 stars which are blown out to a small extent, but otherwise it's pitch black. That's good. To protect that not more stars are blown out, we click here on Protect Highlights. We then open the preview. Now the black point we leave here at 0 because, given it's a star map, background is automatically pitch black. So there's nothing to change here. So we start now stretching. And I think for the first stretch, this looks fine. So we're actually applying that. Okay, now we obviously have to go back here again. And we're stretching for a second round. And quite honestly, that's about it. I wouldn't go much further with the arcsine stretch. So, okay, we will close now the arcsine stretch. We will close now the preview. And obviously this picture is not finished stretched. But the arcsine stretch has now given it already quite of a punchiness. It has given the colors that otherwise would have gotten lost. So next thing, we're going to a script, which is the generalized hyperbolic stretch. Now this script should also be now available, or will soon be available also as a process. I haven't seen it yet, so I still use it as a script, and I think it doesn't really matter that much. So we now have, first of all, to state which picture we want to use. So this is this here. You also can see it here now in the preview. I will now zoom in. And we want to around here, in the middle of this curve. So I'll send this value to SP. I go now back with the zoom to 0. I now set local stretch intensity to about 5-ish. We have already pre-stretched, so I don't want to have it too strong. We leave it here at generalized hyperbolic stretch, and we're now starting to stretch. And look at that, how nicely the stars appear now. And it's now really a little bit about playing with it. We don't want to have too many stars. We don't want to have it blown out. So 1.4, 1.6, I think should be good. I go now to the image inspector. Here I go to preview stretch. And just look a little bit what has happened here. We went from a 0.46 to an 0.81, 0.73. You know, that's all still 0.89, but that's all still good. There's nothing blown out in here, and that's the only thing I wanted to ensure. Okay, with that, we activate it, and we can close it down. No, I don't need a log. I just need my picture. And this picture actually looks amazing. Look at these stars. And you know, that's a little bit the point here. When you look at these stars, you might actually forget for a second that we just do that as a background for a nebula. But this alone is actually an absolutely beautiful picture, especially when we're finished with it, which we could use actually without the nebula. It's just the colors of the stars. It's just cool. And that's what I meant when I said we have from time to time to also give the stars the stage, make the stars. And just as a little story, a few months ago, my telescope just, I don't know, it had an alignment error and it just pointed in the middle of nowhere. I made a ton of photos of it. And at the end, I got to something like this. And instead of discarding it, I actually just put it like any other picture on Insta under this topic. Let's make the stars. And it got a lot of likes because it is nice. But here, it is just the background. And that's also what we have to keep in mind when we do the process. Obviously, if you would keep it like this, it would completely dominate the nebula. And that's also not what we want. And exactly because of that, as sad as it is, we have now to reduce the stars again. And for that, again, I use Bill's star reduction method because it's at the moment by far the best star reduction that you can have. So when we actually want to use Bill's star reduction method, we first of all have to create a starless clone. So this first process here, clone for starless, I threw it now in a picture. I get a clone which is named starless. And that's the main thing. And now what we have to do, we have to kill the stars on this pic. So I open again the star exterminator. You can also use StarNet. We do not need the star image now. All we need to do is to kill the stars here. Okay, and here it is. The stars are removed. Once this is done, you can actually disregard this picture, just minimize it. You have to do nothing with it. It simply has to be there and it simply has to have this name. And now you can take one of Bill's star reduction methods. By the way, I will also, in the description below, I will put the link to the repository where you can get all these methods for free from Bill. And there's also, I will also link the video of Bill where he explains how this is done. The cool part about his methods is everything is done in pixel math, which means it can be easily adjusted. Because do I know already how much I want to reduce the stars? Not really. So let's, with the default 0.15, give it a try. So you throw the triangle on there, and we just wait. Okay, here it is. Is this good? Is this what I want? Definitely not. This is way too much reduced. So I undo it. And let's go to 2.5. I don't know. From my point of view, I think we can still leave a little tiny bit more. So I go back once more. Let's try 3.5. Yes. So I think that's about good. Especially because we can always reduce the stars further, even when we have it already merged with the nebula. What we cannot do is make the stars bigger again. So rather be here a little bit conservative. And again, let the stars shine. So we are good from a star reduction point of view. The next thing we want to do is we want to sharpen the stars. And usually you would do now here a mask to protect the background. We do not have to do that here because remember, our background is pitch black, as it is a star mask. That's the cool part. So we can simply use the unsharp tool and sharpen it without having anything being scared about the background. So we get here a preview, and with a default of a 2.0, looks much, much better. Do we want to go a little bit higher? Let's try with a 3. There's already a little bit too much tiny little stuff in the back, which I do not like that much. Because we have to be careful that we're not getting back to the same stage as we were before we started the star reduction, right? So I think that's sharp enough. So we're executing that, and we're closing this down, and we're closing the preview down. So there's one optional step before the stars are ready, and that is a curve transformation. Now it really depends. For example, I feel I'm happy at the moment how they look like. But in your case, it might be that they are not enough colorful, too bright, too dark, whatever it is. With the curve transformation, we can at least try. Do we want to make it brighter? Do we want to make them less bright? Or we can go on the saturation tab. We can see we want to make them a little bit more colorful, or actually do we even feel they're a little bit too colorful, and we move it back. As I said, I'm actually really happy, so I will not change anything. But that would be the best tool to intervene if there's still something you would like to change. So what we have now? We have now the stars, and we have, I hope you have it, a picture with the nebula, which is registered. Now the question is, how do we get these two things together? And there are two different ways I can propose to you. And we will also try it with both and see which one we like better. So for this I will clone now this picture, and I will clone now the stars. So let's do the one first, the easier one, which is simple pixel math, but it is not, and that's crucial, it is not just 1 + 1. That usually gives really bad results. So how you should do it is like this. This is the formula. So that I don't have to enter everything here, I will call this now star, and I will call this now nebula. Then I throw it on here, and that is how it looks. Now, as I said, this is a question now of taste. Are you happy? Are there too many stars in the picture now? So then, for example, if you feel this is too much, we can simply undo that, pixel math. We can go back here, and as stated, best with the curve transformation. We open it up, just for luminosity here, RGB. We just dim them a little bit. See? Yeah, we let that run. And now we just do the pixel math again. And it's already better. And you could obviously do that a few times until you're happy with the result. You could also, if it's really too much, you could work more with star reduction. But again, there are stars in the sky, and it always depends what you want. But I believe they have their place in a picture like this, and they should not be killed. But let's see the other method, and then we see which one is actually better. So for the moment, we'll close that. We can actually continue with this, because we feel this is about the level we want. And we get a new nebula here. So for the second method, we use again Bill's method. Now Bill's method has 3 pixel mass processes here. Now the first process is clone for starless RGB, and with RGB, he means the stars. So if you throw this on the stars, you get this here, starless RGB. And here again, for the 100th time, we have to use the star exterminator. Okay, and as always with Bill's scripts, we can simply close it down, minimize it, and just leave it here. So the next one is clone for starless nebula. So we throw this on the nebula, we get another clone here, and we just leave it because this is already starless, so there's nothing to do anymore. So we close this down too. I slowly have a huge collection here of pictures. And then we go to the third one, RGB stars to nebula. And then it states, drag the bottom left arrow over to the RGB image with stars. And that's this here. So that's what we're going to do now. And then Bill's miracle happens. Takes some time. And here we are. Now let's compare the two. To the left, we have the one with the simple pixel math. To the right, we have the one with Bill's method. When I look at it at the moment here, I do not really see any difference at all, to be quite honest. That said, still good that you know how to do it. I think if you use the Hubble palette, then it is much more important. It will really have a bigger effect that the stars fit right in. And now also here, as the very last step, if you feel it's needed, you can still go back to the curve and see if anything has to be done. Perhaps we can actually go now even a little tiny bit brighter. We can move the unified background a little tiny bit darker. That's personal taste. I personally like it rather a little bit dark. So I feel that pops more, that looks better. So I'll do that. Close the preview. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have our final picture. I hope you see the effect that it has from a star point of view. There's no star all over, and it might be a little bit unusual because of the traditional methods, you have much less stars. But personally, I feel that this reflects more the reality than the other one, which is simply a constraint by the filter that actually just so few stars pop up. But the sky is full of stars, and I feel that our pictures actually should also reflect that, and that we shouldn't hide them. So I hope this was helpful and that the stars sparkle colorful and bright from now on your pictures. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. See you next time, and clear skies.